What is up, guys, and welcome to some Formula 1 2020 gameplay on the channel. Thank you very much to Codemasters and Kosh Media for hooking me up with a preview code of the game. Today, we're going to start things off with, well, we're just jumping right into the deep end. We are going for a world record attempt. We actually already have the world record, but I can actually smash that time that I've already done, which is a 27.9. That time was actually set with some problems I was having with my pedals, which basically meant I wasn't actually maximizing the lap time. I can definitely go a lot faster, which is what we are going to do with the brake pedal, not brake pedal, but the pedals sorted now. So if this is the first F1 2020 gameplay video that you're watching on my channel, hello, welcome. Thank you for joining me. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to see plenty more F1 2020 stuff. But yeah, if this is the first time you're watching, what are the big takeaways from F1 2020? Well, basically, game feels nice. Handling wise, that's about all I can say at this stage. The car, at least in the Ferrari, feels like it's got quite a bit more downforce than the F1 2019, even the Mercedes. This car feels really, really nice, and that is evident at high speed, and we'll touch upon this over the course of the video, but the very fast left-right chicane, or right-left chicane in the middle sector, just as you go through the first sector timing line, you can absolutely fly it through there, and I tell you what, it is so darn confidence-inspiring. Braking zones, you can carry a little bit more speed into those, and with the increased downforce, it just feels like the cars are so much more capable this year. However, there is an element of snap in the handling model. Sometimes if you shift up from first to second, the car might spin out if you're still turning the wheel a little bit. Just little minor moments where sometimes the car will just bite back at you sometimes. So just watch out for that over the course of this video. Case in point, I was losing the back end quite a lot there on the exit of turn 2. As we see the replay, we did miss the apex and we did have a tighter radius to the corner, and maybe we just chucked it in a little bit too fast and the rear end just said no thank you. So yeah, that was this was just the teething issues that I was dealing with F1 2020, at least in the early stages. So for reference, if you haven't seen my stuff, I run with no assists. In this video in particular, I'm running with the default setup. So this, I'm pretty much gauging this as a direct comparison between F1 2019 and F1 2020. Given that I have done a lot of practice around here for a different event where I was using default setup, so I could really make some good comparisons. And yeah, like I said, downforce feels a lot better on this year's game. If I had to put a number on it, I would say the game is about a second to a second and a half faster around this track, and we're in the Ferrari. I think perhaps if we're in the Mercedes, it could be slightly faster, but with that said, the Ferrari is a very, very good car at a track like this. The Ferrari is absolutely rapid in a straight line, so that's worth mentioning. Time to beat so far is a 26.6. I think at one stage in this video we do get into the 25s, so that is something to watch out for, but you can see again just struggling in the first couple of corners. Still topping the timesheets by 1.6 seconds over eye contrast, my fellow Australian, but we still want to keep pushing. We want to see if we can lower the marker even further. That was, again, another mistake out of turns 1 and 2. Yeah, just, it's a bit weird, that one. I'm not too sure if Codemasters are potentially trying to mitigate the effectiveness of using first gear for extra rotation and then short shifting back up in a second. That's at least my thoughts on this first day, but having done Zandvoort, it may not be the case. But either way, I was struggling for traction just out of turn 1 in second gear, at least on this occasion. So I don't know, in a weird way, it feels like you've got more traction, but if you try too hard, then you're going to get more wheel spin than what you might have potentially got on F1 2019. I don't know, it's a weird one. I need more time. I have only had a handful of hours on the game, and I will continue to update you guys as I go to more tracks. At this current stage, I've only driven around Bahrain and I've only driven around Zandvoort. There is about half a dozen tracks I can try, and we will go and explore all of those. Of course, we're going to make the most of this build of the game that we've got, and I'll continuously update you guys on how the progress is going. This seems to be a decent lap so far. 26.6 for up by a tenth and a half, nearly 2 tenths. I think I might let you guys enjoy the game sound for the rest of this lap and take that in, because I know you purists out there love hearing it. .4, 2 tenths improvement. Just on the sound, this game is very loud, like very, very loud. I don't know if you guys ever play Assetto Corsa. It feels like that game is like 10 decibels louder than anything else, and for F1 2020 feels like it's on the same level as that. It's quite deafening, but in a way it's good because it's so loud it just feels a lot more immersive. But I do love the engine sounds this year. They've continued to work on that. Graphics, as always, are bloody good. I've been playing around in photo mode, and photo mode looks even better this year. Penultimate corner there, we just came out of that, and we just figured out we could track extend off the circuit a little bit, so that's something I'll be utilising on future laps. 26.2 this time, slight improvement. We are knocking on the door of a 25 now, and we should hopefully be only a mere matter of minutes away from that, potentially. Again, we're going to track extend the hell out of that. And yeah, that seems to be picking us up a bit of time. 126.1. Oh, we definitely can do a 25 now. We're starting to push the limits there with the track limits, not only at the penultimate corner, but literally everywhere now. We're just trying to maximize Bahrain for all it's worth. I really want to get in the 25s without having to use a setup. I think iContrast has used a custom setup. Don't quote me on that, but I just want to absolutely cement this this number one ranking on the leaderboards without a setup, and we can go back and try this again in future videos and really delve into what it takes to have a really good setup on this game. But we'll get there. This time invalidated for track limits, so we track extended for longer and the game didn't like that, so that's something we'll need to make a mental note of. Again, struggling out of turns 1 and 2. It seems to be a real weak points for us around the circuit, but to be fair, we really are pushing the limits of the handling model, just like we did in Zandvoort in the video earlier on today, so check that one out if you haven't already. But this is what I like about finally being able to get our hands on the game, is we can push at 11 tenths. Now, we've seen a couple of gameplay videos driven by members of staff at Codemasters. I don't know who the guy was, but he was driving like he was an AI. He really wasn't pushing the limits of the car at all. But here, I'm leaving absolutely nothing on the table, and you guys are getting a really good feel of what the handling model is like. So I'm just going full send here, and this is, partially why I'm including all of the crashes, because you can see how the handling model reacts to stepping over the limit, inducing understeer, or getting on the power too early, running wide, etc. There is a lot of information to be gained here, and I'm sure you F1 esports drivers in the comments, I know you're watching, trying to get ahead early on what works and what doesn't for F1 2020. So speaking of that, at this stage, I feel like it's not as viable to use first gear for rotation. Sometimes holding a higher gear seems to be better at the moment. I mean, shifting down to first and then upshifting to second again really quickly is viable this year. It's still viable, but it's more difficult to pull it off effectively. So that's about the juiciest bit of goss I can give you competitive drivers so far, but yeah, we'll see how we go. Absolutely flying through the fast chicane there. It's a slight lift, and then you're on the power so darn early, and if you get the line right, it almost feels like you're going flat out through there. It's absolutely unreal. Heading into this this double left-hander, watch the traction through here. We got on the power so early, opened the DRS, and we picked up 2 tenths, well over that, as we head into the middle sector. So if you can just nail a corner, my goodness, it feels satisfying on F1 2020. And we're only in the Ferrari. We haven't touched the Mercedes yet. I don't know if I'm actually allowed to show you footage of the Mercedes. I might get confirmation on that, but that's why I'm in the Ferrari for this video, and it seems to darn well suit this track really well as well. Like I said, Ferrari has pretty good downforce, more so than last year's Mercedes, if I'm trying to guess, but it's fast in a straight line, and it really suits this track. 25.857, that's the fastest time in the world at this track. But bearing in mind, there's only been about a dozen people, maybe 2 dozen people who have access to the game, so it's not that much of an achievement. But what I will say is a 25.8 with the default setup. You know, I'm not the fastest guy in the world. I will fully admit that. With that time, I was able to match, I think, the PC world record, or Xbox world record, driven by Michael Romanidis. He did a 25.8 at Bahrain only a mere matter of months ago. So that says to me that, yeah, F1 2020 is definitely faster than last year's game. We know that for sure. This is only early days. No setup, and a pleb like me. So I think we could, I don't know, with esports sweats, with a really nice setup, we could potentially be seeing 24s at Bahrain, which is unheard of. But for now, that is the world record. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to see plenty more racing game content. Yeah, really enjoying the game so far. Feels really, really good. Check out my previous video from earlier today. I test drove the McLaren, I test drove the Renault, the Racing Point, the Red Bull at the new Zandvoort circuit, which is yeah, returning to, or should have returned to the F1 calendar this year. And who knows, if you're watching this when it's not just gone live, I'm sure there's plenty more F1 2020 videos for you guys to check out, so make sure you subscribe to the channel to see all of that stuff. With all that self-promo out of the way, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoy the content, and if there's any stuff you want to see on this game, track car combinations, I don't know, comparisons to last year, perhaps we could do some of that stuff. So let me know, and I will make it happen. But until the next video, I'll see you next time.